A completely new feature is the possibility to save multi-brush configurations, and this functionality is very effective. A multi-brush configuration contains all the data you need in order to work with the multi-brush. So all the different object types, the whole object mix, the brush size, the minimum object distance, and all the other options like the randomized scaling value, distance to other objects, and so on. And it's easy to switch between the different configurations, so it's very easy now to work with a multi-brush. But before we go into the deep, I will give you a small overview and I will show you how you can work with the multi-brush configurations. So if you have a closer look at the favorite list, then you will find three new buttons here. A load button, save button, and of course a delete button. And if you press the load button, then you will get an overview of all the saved multi-brush configurations. But if you want to go back to the favorites overview, simply right click the list. And now, as you can see, there's the favorites overview again. So press this button to load the multi-brush configurations. To start a new multi-brush session, simply double left click the respective list entry. And then you can immediately start to place some objects here. Then, as you know, press return to save all these objects. And now you come back to the overview and you can select another configuration and start to place some objects. Press return and so on. So that's very simple to switch between different configurations. Now I start a short demo to show you how easy and how effective it is to use the multi-brush configurations. So I start with this configuration first. Then press return to save all these objects. And select another one. Maybe this one. Press return to save. Then the next one. Maybe this one. Okay. And this one. Then again this one. Press return. Then I will use this one. Press return. And maybe the last one. This one. Okay, press return. And now, as you can see, within a few minutes, or maybe 2 minutes, I have created a very nice looking area by using different MultiBrush configurations. Okay, now I will show you how you can save your first MultiBrush configuration. And I think you already know how to set up a MultiBrush session, but if not, then have a closer look at the XCAM tutorial videos part 9 and part 18. So the normal way to create a new MultiBrush configuration is to load a favorite list first. A favorite list with all the different object types you want to use. For this demo I will load the trees, and then it's easy, simply mark the object types you want to use simply by selecting the respective list entry, maybe this object type, and then press the plus button. Select the next object type, press the plus button, and maybe 2 more object types, this one and this one. And all the marked object types now define the object mix, and the higher the counter, the higher the probability for this object type. So we can increase the counter for this object type and maybe for this one. And then press the key O to start the MultiBrush session and have a first look. Oh, that's okay. And now you can change, for example, the brush size by pressing left shift and using the mouse wheel, or to set up the minimum distance, control and mouse wheel. And maybe you want to set a random scaling value, press and hold down the left Windows key. There's already a random scaling value defined, so 0.2 is a good value. And the option no other objects is also already defined, activated. So double left click to deactivate and double left click to activate. And the default value is 5 meters. That's okay. Release the Windows key and now I have a final look. And I think it's fine now. Then simply press the spacebar to cancel the MultiBrush session. But all the settings, including the object mix and so on, are still active. So in this situation, simply press the save button. Enter a name for the new configuration. So maybe tree config 1. And now the whole configuration is saved. So now we can go back to the favorites overview and we create a new configuration. This one, and this one. And the count for this one, I set the count a little bit higher. Okay, start. Change the size a little bit, change the minimum distance to 3 meters. All these settings are still fine. That's okay. Press space, press the save button, enter a name, and as you can see, as soon as the first configuration is saved, you see an overview of all the saved configurations. So now I name it bush config 1, and now we have two different configurations saved. And now the last one, so this one and this one, change the size, change the minimum distance, that's okay. That's okay. Space, save button, tree config 2. And now, after we have saved the first three configurations, press the load button to see the overview, and here you can find all the new saved configurations. So, and now simply double left click, return, double left click, return, double left click. Return to save. So that's very easy and it looks nice, I think. If you want to change the settings of an already saved configuration, then that's also possible, of course. So start the configuration you want to change by double left click and then press the spacebar to have access to the object list, and then you can delete or add a new object type or simply change the object counter in order to create a new object mix. And in this example I will simply increase this object count for this object type, start the brush, and I will change the minimum object distance a little bit. So control, oh no, 5 meters is okay. So now as you can see, the probability for the large tree is much higher than for the smaller one. So, and now press the spacebar and press the save button in order to save all the changes. And now, if we load the configuration again, it's okay. The larger tree has a much higher probability. But it's also possible to create a new configuration based on an already saved one. So load the list, then we start again with this configuration, press spacebar, and now I change the object counter exactly in the other way. Oops. Again, spacebar. Now I decrease the counter for this one, and I increase the counter for this one. Start the brush. Now I change the minimum object distance a little bit to 4 meters. That's okay. Spacebar and press the save button, and now you have to change the name. So for example, simply enter a 3. So tree config 3. And then you have a new configuration created based on another configuration. So configuration 2 is this one with a higher probability for the large tree. and the configuration 3 is the one with a higher probability for the smaller tree. So as you can see, you have many possibilities. That's okay. There's another interesting way to create a new MultiBrush configuration. So for example, if you see a nice object mix anywhere on the map, so for example these objects here, that's really a nice object mix, and now you want to use exactly these objects within a new MultiBrush configuration. And these objects here are already imported, so normally you have no access. But you know the function, press the left shift key and press T to start the map object brush, and then simply pre-select the objects you want to have within the MultiBrush. Press return to create the temporary object list, as you can see here. And in this situation, so if you can see the white bounding box here, in this situation press the key O to start the MultiBrush with exactly these object types here. So we have to go to a nice place, and now we can start the brush to see the result. And yeah, it's a nice looking mix. Now you can change the brush size, the minimum object distance, all the things you can change. That's okay. Then press the spacebar, press the save button, enter a new name, maybe new mix 1. And then you have created a new MultiBrush configuration based on a temporary object list. So this one here, double left click, and as you can see, that's the new mix. So that's also a nice function. For the MultiBrush, there is a new option available, and this option is called Random Object Pool, and that means it's a random function for the random function. So it sounds a little bit crazy, but you know, if you see the result, I think you know what I mean. So I have created a new MultiBrush configuration, this one, and for this configuration I have selected many different object types, as you can see here. So now we can start this configuration, and we create some objects now. Press return. And now, as you can see, it looks nice, of course, but the random object selection is always the same. Okay, and now we use the same brush, press O, but we activate the new option. Press and hold down the left Windows key, and here you can find the new option, Random Object Pool. Double left click to activate, and then you can set a value up to 90%. So I think we try with the maximum value to see the difference. And as you can see, Xcam creates now more object clusters. now we have to tweak the settings a little bit to get a really nice looking result. So first I will increase the counter for some objects here. Maybe this one. And this one. And also this one. Now I start the brush again, but I will reduce the new option a little bit to maybe 60%. And now we start a new session. And now, as you can see, it looks also randomized, but not in this way. So always the same. Random object selection. Now it looks a bit different. It looks better. So some object clusters here and there. A little bit space between the different clusters and so on. But the result is depending on the whole object mix, of course. So you have to check it out a little bit to test it and to get a very nice looking result. The next new function is the find duplicates function. So, and maybe some of you know the problem. You have created an object selection, maybe these objects and so on, and then you press C to copy all these objects. And then for some reason you press the spacebar. And sometimes you don't realize that you have created a bunch of duplicates. So that's the main problem. And you are not able to find these duplicates because all these objects are saved at exactly the same position as the original objects. So if we have a closer look now, for example this bush here, this object is a duplicate and you can't see it. But if I select this object, then you know what I mean. So that's the problem. The same with this object here. That's also a duplicate. Okay, but now with the new function, it's easy to detect and to delete all the duplicates. So first press the load button here down below, and then here you will find a new definition, the definition verification. Select this list entry, and now there's a new button available, find object duplicates. Press the button, and now you have two options available: search for duplicates within the whole project or within the visible area. Hit OK, and now as you can see on the left side the list shows you all the detected duplicates. And now it's easy. Press the delete key and hit OK in order to delete all these duplicates. And now you are ready. So maybe it's a good idea to check your project for duplicates before you start to export anything.